Good day, everyone. I don't know how I'm going to do this video, whether it's one part or two part, but I had William ask the other day about, why Lainey and Ace don't go after the chickens. Well, first off, let me tell you, when we first got the chickens, their instincts did make them go after them. I'm sure they would have retrieved them or killed them had I let them. But additionally, a trainer friend, shout out to Carla, a dog trainer friend, she saw some of my video and asked about what I did to break the dogs of, finding that balance between, like, they hunt ducks, pheasants, geese, especially when you think about pheasants, the most like bird, if you will. As far as the wild game birds go towards chickens, I guess that ain't gross. But how I did it. So we're just gonna take a little video here of not necessarily showing you how I did it, but just the end result, and take a walk through the chickens with the dogs. Nice butt scratches. Lainey, Ace, okay. So we're just gonna walk through the chickens here. So, as you can tell, they're curious, but they've definitely developed a relationship, for lack of a better phrase, that the chickens don't go taking off. And you can see the instinct kick in. They're smelling as they're around the chickens, but they're coexisting. So as we take a look at that and think about it, it would be natural to ask the question. One, there's a conversation of just, if you have a farm and you have birds, it's not just birds, it could be pet rabbits or anything that a dog, especially a hunting dog, may naturally go after. But how do they coexist, and how do you train for it? And then, most importantly, still maintain that drive for hunting, which will be the second part of the video. And I don't know yet if I'll make this all into one video or show it and post at two different times, but it is pretty neat to see the dogs coexist with the chickens. They're off over there probably eating the little pellets from the lamb poop. And these couple guys and girls are just living their best life. It's a beautiful day. It's overcast, but it's probably close to mid to high 30s after the brutal cold, so yeah. Doing work, digging through, spreading that manure. So we're out pheasant hunting. As you saw in the previous video, these are the same dogs that are walking amongst the pheasants. I'm sorry, amongst the chickens. But they know the difference. Look at them. She's ready to go. Ace is over there by Hunter. That's what you want to see him. You want to see him in that habitat, looking to flush that bird. You can train them to know the difference. That's the key. They aren't thinking about chickens right now and not chasing the chickens and eating the chickens at the farm. They're thinking about pheasants, capitalizing on their instincts and then also restraining their instincts. Well, we've been walking, and this guy here, Lainey caught him before it even got a chance to fly. So again, solidifying that they definitely know the difference. Good job, Ace. Good job, Lainey. Good job, Hunter. Snow. We got about, probably 6 inches or so here, and it's supposed to be another 6 or 8 later this week. If you can't see, that is a dead pheasant. We shot 4 of them on our first 2 walks today. First 2 walks, yeah. It was good. Actually, I'm sorry, we shot 3, and Lainey caught one out of the cattails, and before it could fly out. So we're gonna count that as one of my birds. We'll go back out later today. But to bring it together, the video from back home with the chickens, and then also the videos that I'll splice in here of us out hunting today. The question has arisen quite a bit, and it's something that I used to think about a lot too, is how can I get my dogs to be around live birds, respect that, and not lose control? Because that'll happen in a hunting situation. Specifically, a lot of times when you're waterfowl hunting, the birds are going to land on the water in front of you before shooting time or in the field, and you want to get more birds in, so your dog is in the blind or at your side, and they got to stay there. So the fundamental issue starts with obedience. I'm not the expert. I used to train other people's dogs a lot more. It's almost 20 years ago. But friends such as Steve Lubner of Lubner's Pet Care, excellent trainer. He did some training on Laney last year. And then Chuck and Carla out at Mountain Plains Kennels, my friends out in Newell, South Dakota. Ace got up. Ace, sit. Yeah, see? Oh, turd. They're going to push it. I have not been good with the obedience on them lately. But I go back, so those are two training, three technically, Chuck and Carla both at Chuck's Kennel, that I would highly recommend. But I go back to Tom, was his first name, and he was in southern Mississippi. And I was down there for Air Force training, air traffic control, I think. Anyway, I'd go to his kennel, and he had a lot of dogs, and he had all these mallard ducks in the area. But on the property. And his dogs would just walk in between them, and that was part of his training, was to get them used to, restraint, right? When they can and when they can't. And, we'd have to ask ourselves as human beings, like, well, how are they supposed to know the difference? And I think the first error sometimes is we project human feelings and behaviors onto animals, in this case specifically canines. There's some parallels there, but there's also some differences. It's the consistency of your training at the end of the day. That's the short version, because this video is not intended to give you the long version. But they know the difference. You'll see in the videos, they walked amongst those birds. So how do I physically do it? I teach my dogs the command no. Some people don't agree with that, but no. And it's a stopper for anything. Any type of behavior, getting out of the truck too early, jumping up on somebody at the house, no. So I never took video of it because it wasn't intentional, coming to this point at least. Walking through the chickens and telling them no, no, no. And over time, through that consistency and repetition, I used to preach about the CPR of dog training: consistency, patience, and repetition. So when you think about the consistency and the repetition of it, they got used to it. Same reason why they can sit there now, despite their instinct tells them to grab that bird, they can sit there and be patient and understand that they can't get it. If I said a word, which I can't say because they would release on it, they'd go for it. So it's definitely doable. So if you're thinking about raising chickens and you've got dogs, whether they're actually trained for hunting or bred for hunting, I should say, you can teach them restraint. And actually, that's the most important thing. When I used to work at Cabela's back in the early 2000s and I sold a lot of dog supplies, there was a lot of conversation about, electronic collars, humane or not humane. And I would always tell people that at the end of the day, you have to be able to stop your dog. And sometimes a verbal command isn't going to be able to do that. So how I tied into this is that you have to be able to know very confidently that you can release your dogs around your livestock. We're talking a lot about chickens, but a lot of that goes back to the foundation of your training. So to tie it back into my comment with Cabela's and the customers, I was trying to get across to them that shock collar was only an extension of the obedience that the dog already has. So if you return to your basic obedience and teach them these types of things where that they understand their boundaries, they can walk amongst the chickens like you saw in the other videos. I'm babbling, been too long, but a couple people had asked me about it and I want to do a video on it. We're gonna go shoot some more pheasants. Have a great day.